At CUC, we care about helping our customers. Here are some quick energy-saving tips from CUC so you can use less energy and save money. Set your AC Smart thermostat to maintain an indoor temperature of 87 degrees Fahrenheit or higher when you are away from home, and have the temperature cool to a comfortable 78 degrees Fahrenheit or higher when you arrive home. Adding insulation can cut your cooling costs by 15 to 45%, depending on your home's size and current insulation. Focus on insulating your attic, walls, and windows for the best results. For your laundry, avoid over-drying clothes. Not only does it waste energy, but it also harms fabrics. Dry towels and heavier cottons separately from lighter weight fabrics to save energy. Your TV and gaming setup can be big energy consumers. Save costs by reducing in-game settings and turning off your console when not in use. Remember, every small step counts. Use energy wisely and make a big difference in your energy bills and the environment.
When you run your own business, you have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the 7th of 19 candidate forums for the 2025 general elections in the Cayman Islands, proudly hosted by the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce. My name is Omari Corbin, and I'm honored to serve as the current president of the Chamber of Commerce. Before we begin, I would like to sincerely thank the two Bodden Town East candidates, Mr. Robert Bodden and Mr. Dwayne Seymour, for accepting our invitation to participate in tonight's forum. By appearing together on this platform, you demonstrate a shared commitment to the democratic process and to the people of Bodden Town East. Your presence signals your readiness to address the pressing issues raised by the community through a recent chamber survey, which has helped shape the questions we'll be asking tonight. While time won't allow us to cover every question submitted, we will do our best to focus on the topics identified as most important to the voters in the Cayman Islands and the voters of Bodden Town East. When the Chamber was founded in 1965, it was built on the principles of supporting, promoting, and protecting the interests of our members and the wider community. Remaining strictly nonpartisan, we have proudly hosted these candidate forums every election year since 1988. We provided a neutral platform for 9 elections, allowing voters to hear directly from those seeking public office and helping our community make informed decisions on election day. The questions for tonight's forum have been carefully developed based on past and current chamber surveys, our 3-year advocacy agenda, and submissions from the public in various constituencies. No candidate has received the questions in advance, ensuring a fair and open discussion. As an organization committed to supporting a strong and sustainable Cayman, the Chamber's advocacy efforts focus on 3 key pillars: building a future-ready workforce, sustaining economic success, and advancing quality of life. The newly elected Chamber Council believes that these pillars are fundamental to the continued growth and prosperity of our islands. Looking ahead, the Chamber intends to collaborate with the incoming government to develop a government accountability scorecard, ensuring accountability and transparency. Additionally, we will seek representation on key government boards and authorities, as we believe our members bring valuable expertise that can help shape effective policies and initiatives. These forums require months of coordination, and I'd like to acknowledge the tremendous efforts of Will and our chamber staff who have worked diligently behind the scenes. I'd also like to express gratitude to Ashley Furniture and Home Store, Foster's, CUC, and Logic for their generous sponsorship, which has made these forums possible. Additionally, we appreciate our media partners, Cayman Mall Road, Cayman Live TV, and ICCI FM for broadcasting tonight's event. We are live streaming the forums, making it easier than ever for voters to tune in from the comfort of their homes. We hope this added accessibility encourages even greater participation in the democratic process. And now, it's time to begin. I'll turn the proceedings over to Will Panu, CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, who will serve as tonight's moderator. Will outline the forum's rules and introduce our Bodden Town East candidates.
Good evening, candidates. Here are the rules for tonight's forum. Each candidate will be asked a series of questions. You'll have 2 minutes to respond or to elaborate on each question if you choose to do so. I'll notify you when the time has elapsed, and we'll move on to the next candidate. Once you hear the ringer once, that means really to wrap up at the 2-minute mark. Each candidate will be allowed to answer the question without interruption and is free to differ with the opinion or position of the fellow candidate during your allotted response time. And at the conclusion of the forum, each of you will receive 2.5 minutes to deliver your closing statements. At this time, I'm going to introduce the candidates for this evening. We'll begin with Robert Anthony Bodden. He's the Caymanian Community Party candidate for Bodden Town East. He is a business owner and a real estate professional who has more than 2 decades' experience working in residential sales, rentals, and property management across Grand Cayman, giving him a deep understanding of the housing market and tourism industry. As a certified real estate agent, Mr. Bodden has completed anti-money laundering training for the industry. Having studied hospitality management at UCCI, he began his career in construction management before working as a customs officer. Mr. Bodden has been active in many community initiatives, most recently as chairman of the Beautification Committee. A committed family man, he is the eldest son of Haldane, Hal the Barber, and Pauline Bodden. Driven by a strong desire to ensure better opportunities for his community, Mr. Bodden first ran for office in Bodden Town East in 2017. As a member of the Caymanian Community Party, his priorities are making home ownership more affordable at every entry level, introducing immigration and real estate reforms, and improving food security for the country. With a strong desire to make a real difference in his district, Mr. Bodden is ready to provide the leadership and action needed to tackle the most pressing issues facing Bodden Town East and the Cayman Islands. Welcome, Mr. Bodden. Mr. Dwayne Seymour is the People's Progressive Movement candidate for Bodden Town East. A native of Gun Square, he has built his career on service, leadership, and community engagement, serving as a member of Parliament and holding key ministerial roles, including the Minister of Health, Environment, Culture, and Housing, as well as Minister of Border Control and Labor. During his tenure, he played a vital role in guiding the country through the COVID-19 pandemic, implementing policies to support health care and the economy. Beyond politics, Mr. Seymour is an entrepreneur with over 24 years of business experience and a background in aviation, having served as the regional and international airport manager for Cayman Airways. A strong advocate for youth and sports, he has dedicated more than 3 decades to Bodden Town Football Club as manager, coach, and captain. He has also mentored young Caymanians through programs like the Youth Parliament and Exposure, which supports creative development. Committed to community development, he has championed initiatives for education, economic opportunity, and environmental conservation. Now, as the People's Progressive Movement candidate for Bodden Town East, Mr. Seymour brings proven leadership and a deep commitment to building a better Cayman for all. Welcome, gentlemen. And at this time, we're going to take a short commercial break. And when we return, we'll begin with the questions for each of the candidates. Please stay tuned.
When you run your own business, you have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.
Why is my bill higher? These days, it might seem like the cost of everything is going up here in Cayman. When it comes to your energy bill, this may be no exception. You may be wondering why your bill is higher when you haven't done anything different in your home. Here are some common factors that will increase your energy usage. As temperatures outside increase, your air conditioning unit has to run longer to keep your house cool, even if you haven't adjusted the thermostat. During the summer months, cooling your home can make up more than half of your energy bill. It's important to maintain your AC so that it can function as efficiently as possible. Changing your AC filters can also help with ensuring units are functioning properly. Remember, for every degree you turn up your thermostat, you can save on your monthly energy cost. Turn off your AC when no one is home. Thermostat should not be set any lower than 78 degrees. Also consider closing blinds and drapes on the sunny side of your home. This will help reduce the temperature inside your home. Remember to consider energy waste. Think about the items in your home that are using energy, like gaming computers and ceiling fans. Always unplug and turn these items off when they are not in use or needed. This will help you conserve. Now that you have some energy saving tips, you can track your consumption daily on MyCUC. Learn more at www.cuc-cayman.com.
Welcome back to the Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forum for Bodden Town East. At this time, I'll introduce the two panelists for this evening, include Christina Spratt, the President-elect of the Chamber, and Mike Gibbs, a past President of the Chamber. And I'll turn it over to Christina, who will ask the first question.
Good evening. I'll ask this first question to Mr. Bodden. Can you share why you have decided to run in this year's election and how you intend to represent the people of Bodden Town East if elected?
Thank you. Good evening, Bodden Town East. Our listening audience, Mr. Seymour, and the Chamber of Commerce who are hosting this event. I present myself to you ready and able to work and attend to the needs of my hometown, Bodden Town East. You have two candidates. Not one of us is perfect, but you can be assured one of us is committed to excellence. I know the needs of Bodden Towners. I am your neighbor. I am raising my family in Bodden Town. I am facing the same cost of living crisis as you, asking the same questions about the future for my child, and fighting my way through traffic in the mornings just to get to work, just like you. When I am elected, I'm going to show up to work for you, and there's a lot of work to be done in Bodden Town East. Storm resilience for Cumber Avenue and Lookout Gardens. Support and financial assistance for our local farmers. Early childhood education and after-school activity programs. Traffic management and road safety. Expanded healthcare services in the district. Housing needs to be accessible to all with less time waiting for approval. More commerce in the district. Better job opportunities for Bodden Towners. For every problem we are facing, there is a solution. I commit myself to working with the elected government to finding and delivering these solutions. I commit myself to being present and available to listen. I am committed to make the needs of Bodden East my number one priority. Enough with the empty promises. Enough with the election time handouts. If they can buy you, they can sell you out. We need solutions.
Thank you.
We need results. We deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bodden. Mr. Seymour?
Thank you, Christina. The reason why I decided to run or continue running, actually, for Bodden East, it's a district I was raised in. I've lived there all my life. I've stayed connected to that district. I've never left Bodden East. I want to continue the great work that I have started. I'm sure everyone can see the activities that is going on in the district, the many changes that has been promised over 40 years that I am now delivering since being elected in 2009. I've been elected now 3 times, and this is my 5th time running. And I have my constituents that depend on me and have confidence in my approach in finding solutions for the common man and woman. Running for politics is never an easy thing, especially for your family. And year after year and term after term, I still decide that I need to be there for my country. Many times now, if people have been watching politics over the years, from 2009, the first time I've been elected, I've always been a minister every time I've been elected. And the Bodden people see that within me, the qualities that I can work with any side that is running the government. And I can work as a minister in any group that is chosen. After being elected in 2009, I saw that the people of Bodden East were being left behind. I went out and I didn't depend on government's handouts. I took money out of my own pocket and went through the district and beautified it. So I love Bodden East. Bodden East is my home. It's where my children live. And I plan to ensure that Bodden East is the new Mecca of the Cayman Islands.
Thank you.
Good evening, candidates. For the second question, I will address this to Mr. Seymour first. And the second question is, what 3 national issues would you seek to address if elected?
Thank you. The 3 national issues that I seek to address would be cost of living, obviously, housing, and immigration. And if I had a 4th one, it would have been health care. Obviously, we all live in the Cayman Islands. The whole world is experiencing a cost of living crisis. And we need to find ways, creative ways, and think outside the box to address these situations in the Cayman Islands. Some people may think it's just the normal way, but since the pandemic, everything in the world has changed. And I can tell you that if we talk about utilities in terms of cost of living, there was an opportunity during this term for the PAC government to negotiate with the utility company, and the former premier failed to recognize that date, and the date passed, and it was a missed opportunity for us here in the Cayman Islands. But I still think there's an opportunity for us to go and negotiate with CUC to get some better pricings and more affordability in utilities in this country. There's also groceries. I can tell you that the $100 that you used to spend 10 years ago is not the same $100. Whenever you get a situation where the minimum wage is less than a 12 pack of eggs, then we have a problem. I can say that I've been working on a program with this government. It didn't go any further because the leadership didn't think it was important. But I think it's important for us to create a government discount store. And that discount store will be on products that are already duty-free. And I will, as I go out through my campaign and my public meetings, I will discuss this further.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Mr. Bodden, same question, please.
Thank you. The three national issues are cost of living, housing, immigration, and border control. The main drivers of the cost of living are housing, electricity, food, and health insurance. Electricity. We need data on cost of fuel. We need to change the way we collect duty on fuel, from collecting by volume to invoice costs. This change has the possibility to reduce your electricity bill immediately. We need to make renewable energy accessible for the working man. We need to remove the duties on renewable energy panels, batteries, which will go a long way in making this more affordable. Where is OFREG and CUC with a public partnership to provide additional large-scale solar farming? Where we source our food is important. Supporting our local farmers to provide what we can make for ourselves. I would consider removing the duties from fruits, vegetables, and eggs. We need a consumer protection agency in this country. We need the data. We need to know what the landed cost of goods are. Then we will know whether we are getting product at a fair price. Health insurance. The medically indigent need to be treated separately from the indigent and with urgency. Too many people with health issues with no insurance are being neglected, and it's a crisis. We need to question why health insurance premiums are going up. Where is the money going? As a member of the Cayman Community Party, I would advocate for investigating the options for coverage of children whose parents are unable to cover their health insurance. Housing. We have a shortage of housing that is driving the cost of housing up. We need a development plan that creates rezoning with smaller lot sizes to allow us to go vertical and to add a mother-in-law's house on that same property. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bodden.
I'll continue with the third question. Mr. Bodden, what improvements would you recommend to improve road safety conditions for Bodden Town East residents?
Thank you. Bodden Town East Central Bodden Town suffers daily with heavy equipment traffic throughout the district. I would advocate that these heavy equipment traffic take the back road. It's suicidal trying to walk through central Bodden Town as is. We need, in the mornings, that traffic management is available to us by the police at the entrance, the exit at Bodden Town Road, which at the primary school, which would be Condor Drive, Northward Road, and Wilty. In the morning, there's a lot of road rage, and there's no police presence to assist with the traffic. Another suggestion I would have in making the exit to the main traffic would be the residents of Belford, Belford Local Gardens, Silver Hill, that the traffic heading east to Bodden Town would turn Condor Drive and exit by the police station. These slight changes in traffic management would go a long way to make it safer. In the mornings, you have people in Lookout Gardens driving in a reckless manner. They're overtaken, coming along the shoulders, just to jump the line to get ahead. So some of these issues and problems that we are now experiencing with better police management could be solved and we would have a more safer commute to and fro our work. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Seymour?
Thank you. The question is about safety conditions in the Bodden Town East residents and improvements. Bodden Town proper, as you know it, is one of the narrowest roads in the country. And if you're passing near the Mostyn's gas station and a wide load truck is coming by, you actually have to stop for that truck to go by before you can actually proceed. It is very dangerous. Something has to be done about it. One of the things that we need to do that no one's talking about, but me it seems, and that's the east-west arterial, to take persons off of that road that is so dangerous. Every day I go there, I see speeding. I've asked in my public meetings and my area meetings if persons want us to consider speed humps throughout the district, such as they've done in Northside as a traffic calming measure. I know some persons would not want this, but we're going to do a survey throughout the district and try to get approval to do something to calm the traffic. We need to put up speed cameras, which I think the regulations have been approved now, to ensure that persons are ticketed for speeding, because the speeding is not only from normal cars, it is from heavy equipment also, the trucks, and someone is going to get hurt on that road. So this is a concern that many residents call me about. And we need to do something. I know it's the only road now access to Georgetown for residents from East End or North Side. But we need to do something to calm the traffic. I was instrumental in trying to get a crosswalk by the church because it was so dangerous there for elderly persons crossing the road. And we really need to take this serious. But what I've seen work is when police officers are actually out on their foot near the Bodden Town School Junction, and helping alleviate and helping the flow of traffic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Seymour, the next question is on the topic of home ownership. Caymanians receive stamp duty concessions as first-time home or land buyers. In your view, are the current concessions sufficient to enable more Caymanians to purchase their first home and or land? If not, what changes would you suggest, and how would you propose to offset the loss of stamp duty income?
Well, obviously we need to ensure that, first and foremost, thank you for the question, we need to ensure that we find new revenue streams. I've talked to the cabinet and to the DG and the governor. They can tell you I'm always talking about new revenue streams because I see the expense growing. So we need to find a way to pay for it. But I believe that a Caymanian should own as much land as possible. They call me the Minister of Land. I purchase all the time. And I'll tell you, I don't think that one time for a concession is enough. And I argue that in this government. The former premier had an opportunity to ensure that Caymanians could get more than one, just a first-time homeowner. And then that situation was actually changed while we were in office during this term. And I can discuss that more on my campaign trail. But for persons also that have been divorced, sometimes they get stamp duty. And when they're divorced, they have already have been given stamp duty one time. We need to ensure that persons who are divorced are given a second opportunity to also get stamp duty. But in terms of land itself or property in Cayman, I have bought more property than any other minister, and that can be fact-checked. The last time I was in, I bought 35 acres, 25 acres in Georgetown alone, 10 in Northside. I've bought beach land. I've bought 7 or 8 pieces of beach land in Bodden town alone, and you see we're building a new public beach in Bodden town, one of the best public beaches that we'll have in the Cayman Islands, in Grand Cayman. And I can tell you, if I'm elected again, I will continue to purchase additional property. I just bought 2 more pieces of property across from Cowood Beach and that is deemed for seniors in daycare or after school for children.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bodden, same question, please.
We have a shortage of housing that is driving up the prices. We need a new development plan with rezoning and smaller lot sizes. We need to allow to build vertical. We need single-family lots that people can afford. We're not growing any more land. Developers of luxury properties, in exchange for concessions, should provide concessions to local housing, either monetary or housing inventory. We have to give concessions to developers, to our local developers, to create affordable homes. The planning restrictions that currently blocks small developers is cumbersome, it adds cost. Ladies and gentlemen, the cost of land in Cayman is unaffordable to the average Caymanian. The incumbent here as the Minister of Labor had an opportunity to increase wages. I am a real estate broker by trade, and in my experience, I see the young people, based on their wages, can't qualify for a piece of land or a first-time home in this country. We need to protect our lands. We need to offer incentives. Why is the banks given 100% financing to purchase a motor car? I think it's only credit union right now is offering 100% financing for a home. We need to let the banking fraternity know that the most expensive purchase anyone will make in their life is home ownership. And we need to do a better job as representatives. We look at the mortgage rates. Our banks don't buy or borrow money from the US market. Why is it we're still held hostage to the US rate when it fluctuates? We need a new government that is going to take on and make tangible results by putting our people first.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you, candidates. Gone through the first 4 questions. We're going to take a short commercial break. Please stay tuned.
EV public charging can be a bit tricky to navigate if you're new to the game. But fear not. Here's a little 101 on all things public charging at your CUC charge station. The first tip is to get the mobile app up and ready on your phone before you charge your EV at the charging location. You can scan the QR code to load the app from sitting in your car. Download the mobile app, register a charge account, load money into your charge wallet. You must have a minimum of US $5 balance in your charge wallet to begin a charging session. Scan the QR code again to start a charging session using this charger. You can also enter the station ID number into the app. Follow the instructions on the mobile app to initiate your charging session. Now you're ready to charge your EV. Select either the right or the left charge plug. Plug your car in and make sure it shows as charging on your dashboard. Charging for 1 hour will give you up to 35 miles of charge. Charging to 80% optimizes battery life and reduces the risk of overcharging. So in that time, you can shop or go to work or chat with fellow EV owners. It's a real community out there. Great to see you, Maya. Happy charging, everyone. See you on the road.
When you run your own business, you have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.
Welcome back to the Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forum for the constituency of Bodden East. We've gone through the first 4 questions. Next, we'll move on. The next subject is going to be on affordable housing, and I'll turn it over to Christina Spratt.
Thank you. Mr. Bodden, we're going to start with you. Would you support the construction of multi-story affordable housing complex in Bodden East? If yes, would any area in the constituency need to be rezoned to allow it?
Thank you for the question. Definitely. The current zoning in the area is low-density residential. So yes, we would have to rezone to allow the multi-story units to be built in Bodden Town. But I am for this initiative, as not everyone will be able to afford a home. So what a multi-story complex would offer, we could do a lease to own. We just need to look at the annual expense that the NAU incurs for rentals in this country. The cost of rent is out of reach of the average Caymanians. So it would be a better alternative that government build affordable apartments, which in the district would go a long way to alleviate the need for rentals that our people cannot find. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Seymour?
Thank you. The question is in regards to affordable housing complex. I can tell you that a story of my own in 1998, when I went out to try to get a mortgage for a house some over 25 years ago, and I was turned down because it was $8,000 short, and that was for affordable housing back then. So I can tell you that since that, I've had a passion to ensure that Caymanians get a home, and that's the reason why you see me buying all this property, to ensure that we have affordable land, not only houses, so that Caymanians can have access to. The area definitely would have to be rezoned. I support the multi-complex, multi-story. We have to go up. Cayman Islands is only so big, and we don't want to use up all of our land, and we have to go up. I support 20-story structures. I've said that publicly already. But what do we have to say when we talk about affordable housing? I've already built affordable housing as a minister. I continue to build. I've built affordable houses in almost every district. So definitely it is something that I support. And sometimes it gets a stigma because you call it affordable housing or low-income housing. And we need to find a way to ensure that it's not stigmatized. But these are beautiful houses. I insured when I left as Minister of Housing, that no house was supposed to have any sheetrock in it. So all the houses were supposed to have cement, and all of the countertops, none of them, all of them were supposed to be not from mica. And so these are good homes, very good homes and strong homes. So I definitely support affordable housing, and I think that we need to do more of it, but we also need to do affordable land also, which we're doing right now in East End with 40 pieces of land.
Thank you.
The next question's in the area of the Chamber Pillar on building a future-ready workforce and in subject of scholarships. So this would be addressed to you first, Mr. Seymour. Over the years, Caymanian students on government scholarships complain that they are unable to secure meaningful employment in their areas of study when they return home. What changes would you recommend to better manage the placement of Caymanians in public and private sector jobs?
Thank you for the question. And this is one I've been working on, actually. I went in and spoke to the leadership in the civil service, and I asked them, I said, a new budget is coming up this year, and what I want you to do is to go to the education department, find out how many students that we have overseas. I want no student who is coming back from studies with their bachelor's or master's degree to not have an opportunity to find a job. I said one of those ways I see that happening is to ensure that government has enough funding to ensure that every child who comes back with a bachelor's degree has an opportunity to work somewhere in government. Albeit it may be for a short time until they find new employment in other areas of their study, but at least no Caymanian will come back here and say that they can't find a job, because a job will always be available for them. And I will ensure that the budget is there to ensure that all Caymanians coming back with a bachelor degree has an opportunity. I also have an idea where the 25 acres of land in Georgetown, I was going to take a portion of that land and build multi-story complexes so that all persons coming home with a bachelor degree would have an opportunity to get a 1.5 bedroom, which would be it would be low in cost, and that could be a good starter home for them. So that's some of the ideas that I've already put forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bodden, same question, please.
Okay, thank you. It is my opinion that what is causing a lot of the restrictions to our overseas students to find jobs is because of our immigration system. We need to make consideration for a moratorium on work permits in certain sectors. What this moratorium would do would cause a reset. It would allow our returning students to find jobs that are available, that are not currently being made available to them. The largest obstacle is the employers stating that they're inexperienced. I am quite sure that each one of us here at some point had to start a job inexperienced. With the right aptitude and attitude is how you're promoted and excel in your specific fields. Government, which is the largest employer in this country, has to follow suit as the private sector by having their work permit holders follow suit by being rolled over. If we don't do this, who are we developing for? Who are we protecting? We need to start putting our people first. We need to look at work permits in this country. We need to look at the agencies that interview us on our return from schooling. The people that are hired by these agencies, ladies and gentlemen, are foreign employees who scrutinizes our resumes. And we are overlooked and marginalized because we all know they're going to look out for their own. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bodden.
Continuing on with the immigration white paper. Do you support the proposals in the immigration white paper? If yes, explain why. If no, what specific changes would you recommend?
Thank you. I do support the white paper in certain areas, but there are others that need to be added to the white paper. Like I said earlier, considering a moratorium on work permits should be considered. Work permit rules need to have a full review. The civil service rollover policy has to be included. We also need to look specifically at temporary work permits in this country. The abuse that goes on with temporary work permits is appalling. We look at it in the bartending industry, where permit holders are coming in that can't speak one word of English. They go to Cayman, they spend 3 months. They get an extension for another 3 months. Only then have they learnt our language and the English language, then they come to Grand Cayman with a 1-year permit. Under the temporary permit requirements, there is no medical, and there's a loophole of all kinds of STDs being brought into this country by this loophole. Temporary means temporary, and it should not be abused with extension after extension. So in my humble opinion, this needs a complete overhaul. Also, if you're on a temporary work permit in one field, only after a year then you start changing to another field or category. Who are we developing for, and who are making these laws that do not benefit and protect our people? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Seymour?
Thank you. The question in do I support the proposal of the immigration white paper? I am actually the minister who actually put that forward in Parliament. So obviously I do support the white paper, but the white paper itself was not just created by me. It wasn't self-approved. It had to be approved by a whole caucus. So obviously, when you're working in a caucus, there's things that people want in there and things that people don't want in there. I definitely would make some changes if there is a new construct of government, and I would include stuff such as Caymanians only in real estate, and also some of the concerns that I have got so far about the white paper that we put out. And there's a reason why we put the white paper out. It's such an extensive piece of information that we put out there, that we really need the public's, and I'm glad that we put it out there, because some of the business owners are saying that they had a problem with the 1 year away if you changed employers. And they were talking about if an employer was a bad employer and it wasn't any fault of the employee, then why should they have to go away? These are things that we have to look at and that we have to further discuss. I do think that the discussion paper ends on the 31st of March, but I would even advocate for that to be extended even further so that persons can really get their information in, for us to ensure that we have a good immigration policy that suits most of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is moving into the third chamber pillar of sustaining economic success. So, Mr. Seymour, the question is in the area of innovation. What innovative strategies would you propose to strengthen and diversify the Cayman Islands economy beyond financial services and tourism to ensure long-term resilience and sustainable growth?
Well, thank you for that question. I was part of the government in 2009 with the UDP government at the time that thought, and I have to applaud the leadership at the time, Mr. Bush, who always drove diversification of the economy into us as a group. And that's the reason why we have Health City, like some people call it Shetties, hospital. And medical tourism is definitely one of the areas that I think that we need to move into. And we started that process, and as we see, now we have 2 properties of Health City. There's even NBA stars and NFL stars that are coming here to do stem cells and all kinds of different work and leaving their cells here in case of damage and so forth. I definitely think the Cayman Islands is the right place. We have the right weather. We have adequate accommodation. And I think that people, when they hear about coming to the Cayman Islands, getting medical treatment and also enjoying a place that they've always dreamed to come, the Cayman Islands is a perfect place for us to do some medical tourism amongst other tourism efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bodden, same question, please.
Thank you. So yes, I have to agree. We have expanded our diversity with medical services. However, we also can provide additional diversity, which could be in the form of sports, auto sports for one. The Caribbean has a large following with the automobile racing and circuit racing. So that could be one way of encouraging and promoting. NASCAR is big in the States. I don't think we'll get as huge as NASCAR, but we could have on a scale similar to the Caribbean where people travel inter-island and showcase their art and sports. We have a cross-section of offshore insurance. The financial sector is leading in this regard. We don't really have a revenue generation problem in this country. What we do have is a spending problem in this country. So if we have a prudent government, we'll go a long way of sustaining and saving for future generations. Thank you.
Well, thank you, candidates. We've gone through the first 8 questions. We're going to take a short commercial break right now. Please stay with us.
At CUC, we care about helping our customers. Here are some quick energy-saving tips from CUC, so you can use less energy and save money. Set your AC Smart thermostat to maintain an indoor temperature of 87 degrees Fahrenheit or higher when you are away from home, and have the temperature cool to a comfortable 78 degrees Fahrenheit or higher when you arrive home. Adding insulation can cut your cooling costs by 15 to 45%, depending on your home's size and current insulation. Focus on insulating your attic, walls, and windows for the best results. For your laundry, avoid over-drying clothes. Not only does it waste energy, but it also harms fabrics. Dry towels and heavier cottons separately from lighter weight fabrics to save energy. Your TV and gaming setup can be big energy consumers. Save costs by reducing in-game settings and turning off your console when not in use. Remember, every small step counts. Use energy wisely and make a big difference in your energy bills and the environment.
When you run your own business, you have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.
Welcome back to the Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forum for the constituency of Bodden Town East. We've gone through the first 8 questions. Now we'll move into the 9th question dealing with food security. Christina?
Thank you, Will. Mr. Bodden, we'll start with you. Given the Cayman Islands' heavy reliance on imported food, what specific policies or initiatives would you support to strengthen local food security and reduce vulnerability to global supply chain disruptions?
Thank you for the question. Ladies and gentlemen, food security is a very serious issue in this country, and is something that we should be planning for and changing the way we source food by only from the US and European market. We can see from the tariffs being adjusted in the US market is going to create an increase in the cost of our food in the short term. So be prepared to pay higher for your food supplies. What we can do to alleviate the stress and mitigate the problem of only using one supplier is our neighbors, our North and South American countries who supply foodstuff. We have to investigate and provide a shipping route direct to the Cayman Islands. We know that when the U.S. buys directly from these same importers, it goes back to the U.S., it's repackaged, it's marked up, so by the time we get it on our shelves, it's marked up 400%, or you're paying quadruple of the actual cost. We also need to remove duty on our vegetables and fruits and organics. We have an obesity and hypertension issue in this country. So by making food choices better available at a better cost, we will have a healthier population. We can also look at the cost of fuel, which is also tied in. And once we can agree that switching from the volume-based collection of duties to the cost of fuel, to the invoice cost, it will help reduce the cost of local food. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Seymour, same question.
Thank you. We have to change the idea about importing everything from the U.S. We saw what happened during the pandemic, and everybody had some panic buying, running to the grocery stores because they thought that when something happened in Los Angeles with the shipping, and the reports were that groceries are going to be short, and everybody had panic buying. We have already started in this government, and I believe that we need to move towards South America, Central America, Honduras, and Chile. We've already taken trips to these places and have already investigated ways for us to bring products to this country. Obviously, we need to change some policies, whether that's the DOA, to ensure that we can actually direct our merchants to bring products from these countries to ensure that the Cayman Islands benefits. It's quite cheap, it's quite affordable, and definitely one of the things that we can do to help with the cost of living here in the Cayman Islands. I would also suggest that persons pick up on the idea of growing what you eat and eating what you grow. Backyard farming, which ties on this. This would definitely ensure that persons have certain staples, that they don't have to worry about going to the supermarket for certain things. And so definitely I support getting our produce from other countries other than the U.S. It's too heavily reliant on the U.S., and it's going to catch up on us one day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Seymour, we're now moving into questions that have been submitted by the public, and the remaining questions are a selection of those. The first one is in the area of economic development, and the question is, what policies would you support to attract more industries and businesses to move into the Bodden town area?
Well, I've already started investigating. I've spoken to some of the cruise tourism leaders from overseas, Florida Caribbean Cruise, and some of the other cruise lines about developing a tourism spot in Bodden town. We have already identified a spot. So hence the reason why additional properties are being bought. We can create a tourism product in Bodden town and alleviate some of the stress that 7 Mile Beach, public beach, has. And it is a mess down there. There's a lot of vendors down there. I've always told them, please don't include Bodden town public beach in the no vendor policy, because my intent, I've already started, I built kiosks for persons to have opportunities to sell to tourists. We had the kiosks already labeled for different persons throughout the district in terms of what they were going to sell, products and everything else. And a member, when I wasn't elected in 2013, they knocked down the kiosks. Now the tourist is actually coming to that same beach and just going out there and looking at the beautiful beach and the beautiful sea. And there's no opportunities for our Bodden towners. I had the vision that this was going to happen, that we were moving east, and the Cruise Association is dying for a new product, and that product can be Bodden town. And I definitely think that Bodden town has a lot to offer. It's the first capital. It's one of the oldest districts. It has a lot of firsts. It has a mission house, which was the first mission house in the Cayman Islands, brought here over 170 years ago. They have the first church in the Cayman Islands. 170 years ago, was a missionary came here for that, to develop that church. There's so many firsts in Bodden town. It's a perfect opportunity for us to develop, to diversify, and to add to our product, tourism product. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Mr. Bodden, same question, please.
Okay, thank you. For Bodden Town East, we have to do rezoning. I have a plan for Bodden Town Central. Starting from Bodden Police Station to the primary school, we would rezone to include tourism development and commercial development. So this vision would include that the land on the roadside of Bodden Town, by the way, has some of the best beaches outside of 7 Mile Beach. So by rezoning the roadside parcels of land, it would make the owners of those parcels of land able to sell, relocate, if they so choose, or redevelop their property into a walkable community of small hotels, outdoor cafes, crafts, culinary, and the list goes on. I have to say that Bodden East has suffered from current and past administrations, that if Christopher Columbus came back today, the only part of Bodden he would remember is central Bodden, because nothing has changed there in 20 years. It's a crying shame that we have allowed our first capital to deteriorate to the point that people are like, what happened here? No one cares anymore. Nothing has changed. So Bodden can be poised for development. We need a redevelopment plan, and that plan would be rezoning. We would offer incentives to investors to develop Bodden by either offering concessions in partnership with our local contractors in Bodden East to make this a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bodden.
This next question is regarding the Georgetown landfill. What is your plan to address the Georgetown landfill?
Addressed to me or to Mrs. Seymour?
To you, Mr. Bodden. Thank you.
Well, we know it's out of control and more should have been done. However, the previous government committed us to an exorbitant remediation plan. Ladies and gentlemen, this has to be addressed within the first term of this election cycle. It is a crying shame that this landfill sits in the middle of our tourism area. I don't know why, for the love of me, a recycle program has not been implemented in every single constituency of these islands. We have to manage the way we dispose of our waste. And this has to be a priority of this next government. Recycling from the home has to start immediately, not just putting recycle bins in certain key areas. So more has to and more can be done, but the cost should not be a burden on our children and grandchildren. So unfortunately, we will have to go back to the drawing board to find a workable plan that is affordable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bodden. Mr. Seymour, same question.
Thank you. Obviously, I'm the minister who was responsible for the landfill. I was a minister for environment. And I must say that, I must mention that Christopher Columbus didn't actually come to Bodden. He was actually in Cayman he saw. So it wasn't even Grand Cayman he saw. So just a little history lesson there. But what I want to say is that I saw it fit to cap and remediate the landfill because of all the danger and the explosions that were happening there. We had the fire service out there for days, 24 hours a day, just monitoring the heat, seeking areas in the landfill. And they were deep. And now that it's been capped and remediated, that has practically halted from all the explosions that were happening there, the danger to neighboring communities, and the smoke that caused them to have to run out of their homes. So I'm definitely proud that we capped and remediated the landfill. What I want to say is that when the PAC government got in, they decided that ISWIM's project was not important, and they waited a year before they actually picked up and decided that they needed to act upon this ISWIM's waste to energy facility, which would have been none like in the Caribbean. I even visited Bahamas, and Bahamas is still landfilling, and they had no plans to actually build a waste to energy facility. We were probably we were going to have the most advanced waste to energy system in the Caribbean. But what happened? It was left for 1 year, and the cost went up. The cost that it is now, or has been reported, was not the cost that I left it at. I left it at $400 million less than it went to, and it went to that cost because it was left unattended for 1 year when the PAC government got in by the then leadership of my opponent's leader that he's running with now.
Thank you.
Mr. Seymour, this is the last question. Then this would be addressed to you first. Again, a question submitted by the public. It's on the area of governance. And what is your overall opinion of governance in Cayman? How would you address perceived or actual cases of corruption within public institutions?
It's a serious question. Unless someone has been arrested or put in prison for corruption, then I think we need to be careful as to how we answer this question. But from what I see, from my angle, and all the checks and balances that I see in place, well, I can only speak on my behalf as a politician. We don't sign any contracts. And all of that is done by the ministry. They're all trained. And there's a lot of checks and balances in place that is within the civil service to ensure that corruption doesn't happen. Now, if someone knows if corruption is happening, then they need to report it. But there's almost no chance for a minister the ministers can't even award contracts. We don't even know who the bidders are until the final person is awarded the contract. So from that perspective, I think that we have a pretty good system, and I applaud the civil service in the work that they do in terms of ensuring that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And that's my experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bodden, same question, please.
Yeah, thank you. Perceived or to alleviate corruption should come under a code of conduct that every MP in this country has to sign. That code of conduct should be across the board in government and all sectors of employment. It is not just MPs, but it can also extend to people on boards appointed by politicians and supported by politicians in the form of kickbacks. We have heard rumors of things happening that is not conducive to legal procedure in this country. The rumors are out there. So what we need is to have a code of conduct for all parliamentarians, that if it is proven and a case is brought not only is that individual persecuted, but that politician can also be criminally held responsible and can be removed from office. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank the candidates this evening. We've gone through 12 questions, and that's the end of the questions for this evening. We're going to take a short commercial break, and when we return, each candidate will be given the opportunity for a closing statement. Please stay tuned.
When you run your own business, you have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.
Why is my bill higher? These days, it might seem like the cost of everything is going up here in Cayman. When it comes to your energy bill, this may be no exception. You may be wondering why your bill is higher when you haven't done anything different in your home. Here are some common factors that will increase your energy usage. As temperatures outside increase, your air conditioning unit has to run longer to keep your house cool, even if you haven't adjusted the thermostat. During the summer months, cooling your home can make up more than half of your energy bill. It's important to maintain your AC so that it can function as efficiently as possible. Changing your AC filters can also help with ensuring units are functioning properly. Remember, for every degree you turn up your thermostat, you can save on your monthly energy cost. Turn off your AC when no one is home. Thermostat should not be set any lower than 78 degrees. Also consider closing blinds and drapes on the sunny side of your home. This will help reduce the temperature inside your home. Remember to consider energy waste. Think about the items in your home that are using energy, like gaming computers and ceiling fans. Always unplug and turn these items off when they are not in use or needed. This will help you conserve. Now that you have some energy saving tips, you can track your consumption daily on MyCUC. Learn more at www.cuc-cayman.com.
Welcome back to the Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forum for the constituency of Bodden Town East. The candidates have gone through 12 questions this evening, and now it's time for closing remarks. And we'll begin with Mr. Robert Bodden.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight you've heard from both your candidates for Bodden Town East. Tonight I ask you, for the good of our district, to put the Bodden back in Bodden Town. Bodden Town, the first capital of the Cayman Islands, has been famous for its dignified and effective statesmen and women. More than one Bodden Town representative has gone on to become a national hero. We have a legacy of powerful leadership that the entire country has relied on during difficult times. Some of the most capable architects of our economy and our nation hailed from Bodden Town. If you vote for Robert Bodden, I promise you that my team and I, the Caymanian Community Party, will not make a mockery of your concerns. I will make it my mission for the next 4 years to bring Bodden Town back to its former glory by giving you answers instead of antics, decency instead of division, solutions instead of sob stories, decisions instead of drama. I will lead with integrity, respect, teamwork, and an unwavering commitment to creating a stronger, fairer Cayman Islands that works for all of us, not just a few. I will not fall asleep at the wheel of our country's future. Let's put the Bodden back into Bodden Town and bring true leadership to Bodden Town East. On April 30th, vote number 1, Robert Anthony Bodden, the Caymanian Community Party. Thank you, listening audience, and thank you, Chamber of Commerce.
Mr. Dwayne Seymour.
I thank you. I want to thank you all for hosting this series of election events. And I want to thank the viewers and listeners for tuning in. What you get from Dwayne Seymour is stable leadership. I want to ensure my constituents that I will continue doing the work that I have already started. This is not someone who's guessing of what needs to be done or trying a thing. This is not for that. This is for people who has experience and who is ready to hit the ground running. Ladies and gentlemen, you have 2 candidates to choose from. You have one candidate who has never been elected. You have one candidate who is running with a party who in his group has 4 members that have quit the government, almost costing stability to be lost in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, what I care about local truckers, small business owners. They're being outpriced by giant of companies, putting them out of business. It's sad and very un-Caymanian. Ladies and gentlemen, what I care about is our seniors. I've bought property to ensure that they have daycare. What I care about is our children who can't get home from work because our east-west arterial was not built by the former leadership. And they can't get home in time for their children. So we need an aftercare facility in proper Bodden Town. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been the minister who have operated in a fashion like none other that has been elected in Bodden Town. I'm building a foundation. 40 years ago, they wanted a boat ramp. I've done that. 40 years ago, they wanted a dock. I've done that. 25 years ago, they needed a school hall. I've done that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm building a new public beach. I've bought 8 pieces of beach property to ensure that Jack can't be run off of his beach in Bodden Town. Ladies and gentlemen, is that a person that you want to not vote for? Ladies and gentlemen, I submit that you need to vote Dwayne John Seymour, number 2, and put the rest to bed. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for your cooperation. Now we turn over to Christina Spratt for some closing remarks.
On behalf of the Chamber Council and staff, I would like to thank Mr. Robert Bodden and Mr. Dwayne Seymour for participating in this evening's forum. I trust that this forum will help Bodden Town East voters make informed decisions about who to vote for when they go to the polls on Wednesday, April 30th. I would also like to thank Ashley Furniture and Home Store, CUC, Foster's, and Logic for sponsoring the Chamber's candidate forums. Please join us on Monday evening as we welcome the candidates from Bodden Town West, Osborne Bodden, Heyman Rankin, and Christopher Saunders. Please note that all forums will be posted on the Chamber's YouTube channel for the future reference. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you will join us on Monday evening and have an enjoyable weekend.
At CUC, we care about helping our customers. Here are some quick energy saving tips from CUC so you can use less energy and save money. Set your AC Smart thermostat to maintain an indoor temperature of 87 degrees Fahrenheit or higher when you are away from home, and have the temperature cool to a comfortable 78 degrees Fahrenheit or higher when you arrive home. Adding insulation can cut your cooling costs by 15 to 45%, depending on your home's size and current insulation. Focus on insulating your attic, walls, and windows for the best results. For your laundry, avoid over-drying clothes. Not only does it waste energy, but it also harms fabrics. Dry towels and heavier cottons separately from lighter weight fabrics to save energy. Your TV and gaming setup can be big energy consumers. Save costs by reducing in-game settings and turning off your console when not in use. Remember, every small step counts. Use energy wisely and make a big difference in your energy bills and the environment.
When you run your own business, you have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.